So Jamelie, to what degree does someone like Greg Curnoe influence your work and your formative years and the work that you're perhaps creating now?
Well, there's so many overlaps and influences in terms of my own practice and my early years returning to London after studying in art schools in Italy, in Rome, in Florence, and later on in Beirut, Lebanon. I returned to London and to that very exhibition that Judith is referring to, The Heart of London. And I saw that piece, Close the 49th Para. And I was pretty radical already because, I mean, here it was 68. And I was already involved in internationalism and thinking about global issues. So I think that one of the aspects that became really important in terms of my dialogue with someone like Greg was not only the local, but also the international, the relationships that we could build internationally, and also, as Judith refers to, Indigenous issues and how important that was for so many of us in those years. I think another thing too is like both Jack Chambers and Greg Curnoe had families, and you know, as Jeff talks about growing up in a home where your parents are artists, so many of us of that in that period had children, and those kids hung out together and they understood what certain kinds of values were important, that you know, that having a TV wasn't that important at a certain point, or a car, that what was important was maybe learning another language. I know that my son and Greg's kids, they both were among the first kids that went to École Alexandra and into the French program here in London. So there was a really strong connection beyond London and regionalism to other parts of Canada as well. So there, you know, you've got this layering going on where you're thinking about your own place and your place in that space, but you're also got, you know, a lot of networks across the country. And then you're also looking out to how all of this connects with the rest of the world. And I think another really important aspect is cycling. We were all cycling at that time. So I know when I bought my first bike, Le Jeune, it was a French bike, and Greg Curnoe went with me to the bicycle shop to buy it. So there was so many overlaps in ways that, as an example, that generation and even the generation before them, like Selwyn and Irene Dudley, they were pacifists, they were able to sort of point to progressive ways of being engaged within your own community. And certainly, I mean, the issue of people experience homelessness and being on the margins and on the edges in various ways was something that was extremely close to people who, say, came from another part of the world to London, Ontario, as my own family did.